The timeline resumes in the worst possible way. A body is found partially submerged in water, close to the road, close to where Audrey's phone location had indicated. The body was fully clothed. There are no immediate signs of exactly what has happened. No obvious scene that points towards a specific cause. Police attend and a crime scene is established. The body is examined. A post-mortem is conducted, and initial findings indicate just drowning. There is no immediate evidence of anyone else being involved at all, and based on that, the conclusion is reached pretty quickly. After the body is identified by Audrey's own mother, her passing is classified as non-suspicious, a case of misadventure, an accident, a tragic fall into water. And that classification is pretty powerful, because it determines the direction of resources by police. It sets the level of urgency or non-urgency, and it dictates the type of evidence actively being pursued. Once that label is applied, the case begins to move towards closure. However, not everyone thinks that this is now over. When Audrey's parents view her in the morgue, they notice some details that they don't believe fit. There is mud under her fingernails, and it wasn't just a little bit. They described it as being packed in. That detail suggests something different to the family, because it implied resistance, like Audrey had perhaps been grabbing or clawing at the ground. From their perspective, this was not an accident. They did not accept the professional conclusion. So instead of accepting and stepping back, instead they begin pushing forwards just like Audrey had done in life. They ask questions, they request information, they return to the location. In a moment that is pretty unbelievable, the phone that originally led to the discovery of Audrey, which up to this point had been missing, it is located by a friend near the creek, days after the body had been found. This was another piece of evidence not initially recovered by investigators. At the same time, her mother begins asking about CCTV, footage from the area, from nearby roads, from the hotel, anything that shows movements after she left. These requests are repeated, because from their perspective there is still a missing piece, something that explains how a trained athlete, someone comfortable in water, remember the triathlons, ends up in a creek without a clear cause. As this continues though, the case remains in its original classification, that being not suspicious. But the pressure begins to build, because each unanswered question points back to the same issue. The timeline is incomplete, and the answers just aren't there.